Good morning. Hope you're having a great week. It is Thursday, June 16th, 10:36 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, local time here in Southern Colorado. I don't know the name of the town I'm in. I'm at a Love's truck stop off of Interstate 25 in Southern Colorado. I pulled out of my spot to leave, and then I realized I forgot to log my vehicle inspection report. So I just pulled over and logged that real quick. But yeah, we're just starting the day, just starting my drive shift. I just had a 10-hour break. I've got a load going from Dallas to Seattle, so we're going to continue making our way up to Seattle. We're going to be driving through Denver in the middle of the day. There's already accidents and delays in Denver, but hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully we're able to squeeze through there without too many delays. Getting on the interstate. We'll go over how much I'm making on this load, and then we'll go with the drama. Go over the drama I've dealt with on this load so far, and then we'll talk about the YouTube drama of the day. Apparently, all the YouTube truckers are going out of business. So, what am I making on this load? I am making, and I apologize if the camera isn't focused on the road, if it's focused on a bug or something. I can't manage the camera while I'm driving. I can't even really see what the camera is looking at while I'm driving. It's so far away and it's shaking so much. So, what does this thing pay? $10,000 total. Now, these are approximate numbers. It's, really close to the numbers that I'm saying, but I just can't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head. 10,000 gross. My cut is 7,700. It's 2,052 miles according to the freight bill, 2,116 miles according to the actual route that I'm taking. And I think that should basically cover the amount the load is paying. The fuel surcharge is like $1.74 a mile. That's the reason I'm getting such a big percentage of the overall load. Is a lot of the load is fuel surcharge, and I get 100% of the fuel surcharge. But that's going to be eaten up in fuel costs, which comes into the drama. Why is this thing going to cost me so much money in fuel? Drama with the load. Number one, max weight load. I'm over 77,000 pounds gross. It's a hazmat load. I'm placarded. I have flammable and dangerous placards. They lost the bills of lading. They told me to come up to the office and they'll print them out real quick. Well, I went up to the office. They told me, hold on a minute. And I ended up standing outside their office. They were sitting in there in the office in air conditioning, and I'm standing outside their window, 96 degrees in Dallas. I stood there for 45 minutes. It took them an hour total to reprint the bills because of the way that these LTL shipments are. I have like a packet of bills of lading. It's not like one single sheet. They have a bill of lading basically for every single shipment in the trailer, and there's like 40 shipments in the trailer. I could have been doing other things had they told me that it was going to take that long, but they didn't have the courtesy to tell me. I could have been doing things like inspecting the equipment and hooking up to it. But no, I had to sit there for an hour sweating like crazy in 96 degrees. It's actually hotter than 96 degrees because I was standing on the dock and it was so hot on the dock. I don't know what the temperature on the dock was, but it was 96 degrees outside. And whenever I stepped off the dock and whenever I walked back outside, it felt like I stepped into an air conditioned room. The temperature difference was so big between the dock and outside. So it was well in excess of 96 degrees on that damn dock. So then I went and hooked up to the equipment, inspected it, found out it had a flat tire. So then I had to sit around and wait for a mechanic to show up and replace the tire. And then I got rolling. I only drove for 2 hours because I started yawning, started getting really tired. So I arrived to pick up the load at 11 p.m. I left at 3 a.m. I stopped at 5 a.m. and took a 10-hour break. I went to sleep by 6 a.m., woke up at 10 a.m., and it was 85 degrees inside the truck. The APU air conditioner could not keep up with how hot it was during the daytime. So I woke up, couldn't go back to sleep, and ended up just sitting there waiting for my 10-hour break to be up. And then I got rolling, and I drove to where I was just at in southern Colorado. And took a 10-hour break there. And I woke up, and it was 77 degrees in the truck. But I shut it down at around midnight last night. So I did get like a full 8 hours of sleep. But I woke up at, around 9 a.m. and it was like 77 degrees in the truck. The APU was running and the air conditioner for the APU was not running. So I had to go troubleshoot the APU. I had to go, crawl around on the ground at the truck stop, getting under the APU, looking at stuff. And what the problem was the mechanic that I just paid $400, $367 to replace the wire to the capacitor. The fucking idiot didn't plug the wire all the way into the capacitor. One of the wires was just loosely connected to the capacitor, and what I think happened was it just shorted out the capacitor and damaged it. Because I replaced the capacitor and everything started working correctly. Plugging the cables. A second here. I think I'm going to make it well past this person before they get to the top of the on ramp. I've got a four-wheeler coming around me right now. The I plugged the wires in all the way, and that did not fix the problem. So I swapped out capacitors, and everything started working great. So man, I prefer to do things myself if I can, because you just can't trust anybody to do anything correctly. It's like everybody just half-asses everything. That's one of the reasons whenever I have a mechanic work on anything, I always try to watch them when they're working, because I've caught mechanics several times that will be working on something and they will fuck something up and they'll just like duct tape it just to get it to where it's working for the moment, just to get you away. And then it'll break later on down the road and it won't be their problem. Like, I don't trust mechanics. I don't trust them at all. I don't trust much of anybody. It pisses me off to pay somebody $367 to do something as simple as butt some wires together. That's all he did was butt some wires together. Well, he also fixed 3 air leaks, but that only took him about 30 minutes. So I only paid him like, I don't know, $60 for the air leaks. Almost all of the what I paid him was to replace those 2 wires. And to pay somebody something for that simple, that is that simple, and they half-ass it, that just pisses me off. But anyway, um, it caused me to wake up early. I probably would have slept for like 16 hours today had that not happened, because I haven't slept very well in about 4 or 5 days. So I was sleeping like a baby last night. It was finally, comfortable in the truck. It was nice and cold in here, and just the conditions were perfect, and I was finally getting some catch-up sleep. And then the air conditioner stopped working because he didn't do something as simple as plug a connector in all the way. But anyway, my original plan today was to just sit all day long, take a shower, and hang out at the truck stop and wait until about 6 o'clock tonight to start driving and drive overnight. That way I drive through Denver in the middle of the night. Because, man, driving north-south through Denver it sucks. Because Denver has been spreading out like crazy. It's a booming city. And it has especially been spreading north toward Fort Collins. So you're just basically driving through this huge city all the way from South Denver up to Fort Collins. And the roads, they just don't have the infrastructure to support the population. The roads are just ridiculously packed. I'm hoping that it's not going to be too terribly bad, because I should be driving through Denver at around 1 p.m., which for the daytime, that should be one of the slower traffic periods during the day. I'm just hoping there aren't too many accidents that cause traffic to back up. I'm hoping I can squeeze through Denver without too much delay, because I just didn't want to set all day long. I just didn't feel like setting. I felt like moving, so I just decided to go ahead and roll on. So anyway, let's one other piece of drama. Um, I this is a hazmat load. I don't like hauling hazmat. There's a whole bunch of extra bullshit you have to deal with hazmat. One of the things is every time you stop, you have to perform an inspection on hazmat loads. You're required to perform an inspection every time you stop for anything. You stop to fuel up, you stop for whatever, you're required to perform an inspection. So when I stopped for my 30-minute break, I stopped at a New Mexico way station, and I did. I normally do inspections anyway. I just don't normally log them. Every time I stop, I do a walk around inspection, but I just don't bother to log them. Um, but I was there for my 30-minute break, did a walk around, and my damn license plate light had gone out on me. So luckily I carry spares, because that license plate light goes out on me fairly often. This will be about the 3rd time I've replaced it since I've owned this truck. So I went ahead and replaced it. Oh, there's a DOT or highway patrol or whatever This is another reason I don't like hauling hazmat. Not only are there a whole bunch of extra rules you have to follow, but the likelihood that you're going to get pulled over when you're placarded is much, much, much higher than when you're not placarded. If you're doing something stupid and you have placards, you're most likely going to get pulled over. If you're speeding and you're not placarded, cops might just ignore you. But if you're speeding and you're placarded, the chance of them pulling you over is much higher. The chance of getting a random inspection at a weigh station is much higher. I don't like the extra attention that you get whenever you have placards. And, aside from that, just the general public and even other truck drivers sometimes, they freak out around you whenever they see all the placards on the truck. They don't really know, like, what's going on, and they'll start driving really weird around you. Like, people are scared to be around you type stuff. Like, I'll have people that'll be coming up on me, and then they'll just stop behind me, and they'll be afraid to pass me. And I'll have traffic build up behind me. It's weird shit like that. It's not very common, but I mean, there's a lot of weird things that happen and that you have to deal with whenever you're placarded. I don't like hauling hazmat. I used to haul it all the time. When I had my license 15 years ago, almost every load I hauled was placarded. One of the main contracts that we had with the last company I drove for was hauling hazardous waste. I would go to recycling centers and pick up like barrels of old batteries and take them to a hazmat dump site. I can recall 2 hazmat dump sites that I went to. One of them was in southwest Nevada, and another one was just south of Little Rock, Arkansas. Those are the only 2 I can remember going to. And it's really just kind of, I don't know. We'll get to talking about the YouTube trucker drama in a second. This is the final thought. Hauling hazardous waste and seeing how we dispose of our waste. I was already the type of person that could not stand littering. I couldn't stand, uh, non-biodegradable, disposable stuff. I've always been against that kind of stuff. I think that it's our job to be stewards of this planet as you know, looks like there's a couple of highway patrols just parked up over there monitoring traffic on top of the bridge. There they go. One of them's driving away right now. Hopefully he's not coming over here to get me. He is coming across. He's coming over to this side. He probably saw my fucking placards and he's like, "Oh, let me go do a random inspection on this guy." He didn't seem like he was in a very big hurry, but he is headed this direction. Yep, he's getting on the on-ramp right now. But he's looking fairly casual. But yeah, hauling that hazardous waste and seeing how we dispose of our waste, just basically we just bury it in the fucking ground. The hazardous waste dump sites that I went to, they're just like regular garbage dump sites. They just bury it in the fucking ground. They dig a hole, bury it, and then cover it up. All right, he's got his fucking lights on. Is he pulling me over? Nope. He's going past me. I don't know who he's getting. But now we have to keep an eye out for him pulling somebody over. We're going to have to move over to the left lane. And he caused me to have to hit my damn brakes right before this hill. So now I'm creeping up this hill. All right, let's talk about YouTube trucker drama. Apparently, every YouTube trucker is going out of business. Somehow, and somebody I'm subscribed to, or in my suggestions or something, I saw a video where they were talking about two of the big YouTube truckers going out of business, Ken V and Toe Piglet. I think, I'm not sure. I've never watched videos on either one of these two until the last couple of days ago. But where the hell is that highway patrol at? I'm not seeing him. He better not have somebody pulled over in this damn turn. Oh, I see him. He's way the hell up there. He's going up the. He's just about to peak the hill way off in the distance. But so I watched their videos of them going out of business, and Ken V didn't really talk about the reason he went out of business. He was just like, it's not worth it anymore. Toe Piglet went into detail about why he went out of business. He said that rising fuel costs and lower freight rates caused his profit margins to plummet. And then he had an insurance renewal, and the insurance company surprised him by doubling his rates. So that just put him out of business. So I started looking at a whole bunch of other sorry, there's just a lot of people coming around me. I'm watching the on ramps and stuff. We got a downgrade coming up. Just checking around on everything. This is the reason it's so hard to make a video while I'm driving. Is to some people it may, to a steering wheel holder, it may look like there's not very much going on. For the people who just tunnel vision in front of them and they don't really pay attention to anything. But there's always a lot of stuff going on the road, even when there's hardly anything happening. Just having to focus on a blind turn like this, you have to like hyper focus on this, because if you see something, your visibility right now is really, really low. And if you see something, you have to react really fast. But I went and watched a whole bunch of other truckers on YouTube, just to see like how many people were going out of business. And man, there's a lot of YouTube truckers that are like going back to company driver from owner operator, shutting down completely, and they don't know what they're going to do. Or they're saying that if things don't get better, they're going to be, trying to find something else to do. They're not going to be able to continue being an owner operator if things stay the way they are. And in my opinion, I think things are going to get a lot worse than they are right now before they get better. I think the rates are going to fall much further than they are right now. We have just way too many trucks on the road. The volume of trucks, our truck capacity, has been suppressing freight rates and driving down freight rates for several months, the last couple of years, actually. Like, as soon as, we started booming in the freight market, we had a lot of trucking companies go out of business because of the lockdowns. And then shortly after the lockdowns, the freight market came back. And because so many trucks went off the road, the rates went through the roof very quickly. And then all the idiots started swarming back into the industry, and they started, suppressing the rates. The freight boom slowed down. It flattened out. The rates flattened out, and they've been, driving down the rates, slowly suppressing the rates ever since then. But the freight market has been so strong that they haven't really crashed the market or made the rates bad. They've just been keeping the rates either flat or bringing them down a little bit. And now the freight is started slowing down, and the surplus of drivers is causing, what would normally be just a drop, a little drop in the rates. They're compounding the problem. They're making the rate drop much bigger than it would normally be. Basically, what's happening is we have two things happening at once. We have a normal freight cycle happening. The freight market has ebbs and flows, ups and downs. Um, it sorry, I'm trying to maintain my speed going down this hill. It has what happens is whenever the freight market is really good, every moron comes out here and becomes an owner operator and spins up a fleet. And all the mega carriers hire as many people as they can. So all of this increases the truck capacity. You fucking idiot. Jesus. I had to slam on my brakes and drop 7 miles an hour. I was going 72 miles an hour down this hill. I had to slow down to 64. I guess that's 8 miles an hour. Because this fucking idiot FedEx driver just cut me off. Oh my God. I knew he was going to fucking do that because he turned his turn signal on before he completed passing me. I knew he was going to come over as soon as he thought he was clear. Idiots like that should not have a fucking driver's license. Going down a hill and somebody fucking cuts me off like that. This is the reason it's so hard to make a driving video. This kind of shit happens all the fucking time. Ooh, I think that bobtail saw what happened, and that bobtail just cut off the FedEx driver. That's also something that happens a lot. If somebody sees you doing something stupid, other drivers will like get back at you. They'll do stuff to you. I don't play those games. It's not worth it. play stupid games with stupid people, you win stupid prizes. So, yeah, a lot of people looking like they're going out of business. So, when I was talking about the ebb and flow, um, so we every time the market's good, we get too damn many trucks, and this eventually drives down the rates, and then all of those trucking companies go out of business because they're basically fucking carpetbaggers, is what they are. They're opportunistic dumbasses. They don't know what in the hell they're doing. They just see an opportunity and they jump on it. They don't know what they're doing, and then as soon as things are not perfect, they immediately go out of business because why? They don't know what they're doing. Whenever the freight market is like at an all-time high like it was, anybody can be successful as an owner operator. It's hard not to be successful. But as soon as the market takes a downturn, people get exposed. And we always have a lot of companies go out of business. And once a bunch of them go out of business, the freight market eventually picks back up and the rates pop back up. That is the ebb and flow. That's the normal freight cycle for trucking. Well, what's happening right now is we have a couple of things happening at once, at least two things that I can think of. There may be more compounding factors, but we have a normal down cycle in the truck freight market of we just have too much trucking capacity and it's driving down rates. And on top of that, we have decreased freight volume because we're entering a recession. So it's causing rates to drop faster and further than a normal down cycle in trucking. Man, you see the tire marks on that? That was weird. You see all kinds of tire marks on the road where people, like, some weird shits happen, accidents and stuff. And you're like, what in the hell happened there? So, yeah, we're losing. We've already lost a lot of carpetbaggers. And the term carpetbagger, you can go look it up. It's from the Dust Bowl. I can't remember the exact details, so go look it up if you're really interested. But they started some kind of program, or I forget what it is. Like, I forget if they were like giving away land. Like, if you were willing to work the land, they were giving it away up in like the Oklahoma Panhandle area. Um, or if there was just a boom in agricultural products. I'm not sure what exactly it was, but a bunch of people that didn't know anything about farming came from like the big cities and came down to like the panhandle of Oklahoma and got this land, and then they hired people to live there and work the land for them. And then once the Dust Bowl started, they just, abandoned the places. And you could tell that the way that they could identify these people coming in to do this was their luggage. It was carpet bags. Their luggage looked like it was made of carpet. So they called them carpet baggers. They would come into town with their carpet bags. So a carpetbagger is basically a moron, an opportunistic moron that doesn't know what they're doing. They're just taking advantage of a situation. And they're likely to fail. But yeah, that's what we have happening in trucking all the time. So who's going to make it through this? I don't know. I don't know who's going to make it through this. There is a luck factor involved in who's going to make it through this. Um, I hope I make it through it. There's no guarantee. I don't care how good your business model is. If you have a string of bad luck, you're going out of business. There's nothing you can do about it. If you just, let's say you have a fleet of 30 trucks and your profit margins are really high and you just get really unlucky and like all of your trucks have their depth sensor break within a few months of each other, and every one of your trucks are down for depth sensors that are on permanent back order. Now, it's my understanding that you can get a def delete, but the mechanic told me that in order for you to get a def delete, your truck has to be down for a month first. You have to set for a month waiting for the def sensor, and then you qualify to get a def delete done. So if you have like 30 trucks and they all shut down for a month, that'll probably put most people out of business. And then if you have another thing happen after that, I mean, that's what I'm talking about with luck. There is a luck factor involved, regardless of how good your business model is. But aside from that, it mainly boils down to revenue versus expenses. There's a lot of people that became owner operators when it was really, really, really expensive to get equipment. So they have really high expenses. And there's a lot of people that are just stupid. They opened up a business in like a booming market, an all-time high market, and they set up their business model with the expectation that that's how much money they were always going to make. So their expenses are set up with that expectation. So their expenses are just absurdly high because they didn't research. And then there are people out here that just have low revenue. They are 100% dependent on random spot market loads. Or, they're 100% dependent on shitty flat rate loads. Whatever it is, they just have a bad revenue generation. They just have bad revenue generation. They have low revenue. One thing I noticed that was really common between pretty much everyone. I can't think of a single person that I saw on YouTube that either had already gone out of business or said that they were going to go out of business. I can't remember a single one of them that was not doing random loads on the spot market. That was what they all had in common. Was everyone that was going out of business was reliant on random loads from the spot market. I think a few of them had some regular customers that they dealt with, but the majority of their business was dependent on random spot market loads. And when the rates go down, the spot market is the worst place to be looking for a load. Those things will be bid down to the point where they're not profitable. You'll be running it at a loss. There are people that will haul freight that is break even, or they'll run it at a loss just to keep the wheels turning, just to keep money coming in. These are people that don't understand math. They don't understand business. And they will go out and dig a deeper financial hole by running freight at a loss. There's a lot of people in the industry that will do that. And that's how the rates get driven down so low. You know, people are that's one of the biggest things you're going to hear from truck drivers. Whenever the rates get really low, truckers will start complaining about the brokers taking advantage of everybody and ripping everybody off, and they'll start uh, whining and complaining about all the idiot drivers that are hauling stuff for these rates, that are bidding it down so low. And it's just not going to change until we get rid of the truck capacity. And the great thing about the people that are staying in business is that the fuel prices went up so fast and the rates are dropping so fast that it's going to drive a lot of those people out of business fast. So those people that would normally just linger around for months hauling break even freight or freight at a loss, and they're just going around driving down the rates, a lot of those people will go out of business very quickly. They can't stay in business for, months doing that because they're losing so much money because of how fast the rates have dropped and how high the fuel prices have gone up in such a short amount of time. Pueblo, Colorado. About to drive through the big city of Pueblo. So that's this with this happening very quickly, that's actually a really good thing for the people who stay in business, who are able to survive this. Everybody else going out of business very quickly is a good thing. The worst thing that could happen is a slow reduction in truck capacity. If we have a rapid reduction in truck capacity, then rates could stabilize or even bounce back a little bit. And, it may not be a great freight market, but it could be a freight market where you can survive a lot better than if all the truck capacity remained for a long period of time and we were just running dollar a mile freight for 6 months, a year. But on the other side of it, I think it's going to be an amazing freight market once we get to the other side, because there's been things that have happened that have made it harder to get into the industry. Um, Barriers of entry like CDL school requirements, medical examination requirements. What I mean by a second here, this is a really busy on ramp, and we got somebody pulled over on the shoulder. Oh my God, there's just a fucking line of cars coming on right here. All the fucking locals going from one side of town to the other. So, what's the CDL school requirement? Well, it actually was supposed to go into effect January of 2020, but I think it didn't go into effect until January of 21. Now there is a requirement to go to like a certified CDL school before you can get your CDL. Used to, just as long as you pass CDL test, you get a CDL. And for anybody who's ever taken a CDL exam and done this job, um, you're probably well aware that passing the CDL test does not, just a second here, finally have an opening to get over in the right lane, but we have merging traffic. Um, so the and even going to a CDL school does not prepare you to drive one of these trucks. You do not haul heavy loads in a CDL school. You do not drive over mountains in a CDL school. You don't live in the damn truck in a CDL school. There's a whole bunch of things in this business that you do not do in a CDL school. But they have the CDL school requirement now. And a lot of the trucking companies that used to, just a second. Fuck, man. Just a second. This shit is fucking dangerous. The land of the fucking land of the stupid people is what it is. But CDL school requirement and the a lot of the mega carriers that used to offer free CDL school, they don't offer free CDL school anymore. The ones that still do their own CDL schools, they hire people without licenses or whatever. Um, they've all started charging for the school. You have to sign a contract and they charge you for the school on top of it. So it's the barrier to entry just on the CDL school requirement is much higher now. And then we also have the National Drug Database. So if somebody fails a drug test, they can't just go to another company and get hired on. They're done. So we have a lot of people trying to get into the industry, fail drug test, and that just ends them getting into the industry. That's it. They're done. They have to wait like 7 years for that to fall off their record. And then the medical exam used to, it was, used to, DOT or the state or whatever didn't really give a shit about your medical exam. You never had to, all you had to, all you had to do was go have a medical exam performed and then keep your medical card with you. And then if anybody ever inspected your license, they would ask to see your medical card as well as your license. Well, then they started requiring you to provide that uh, medical exam information. Sorry, there's just a bunch of people in that exit lane. I wasn't sure if they were going to pull out in front of me or not. Then you had to start providing your medical exam information to the state licensing agency. But it was still up to the driver to report that stuff. So you could go out and have 20 medical exams done, fail 19 of them and pass one, and you just turn that one into the state. Now, to get a DOT medical exam done, it has to be done by somebody who's certified. And part of that certification process for the examiner is that they are required to submit all DOT medical exams to FMCSA or somebody within a certain amount of time. They get like 24, 72 hours a week or something like that to turn those medical exams in. So if you go out and fail 20 medical exams, you find somebody that passes you, you turn that one into the state that passed. FMCSA still has a record of the other 19 that you failed, and they can, you know, suspend your license for that. Those are the things that I can think of that have made it harder to increase trucking capacity. There might be other things, other changes that have been made that have made it harder. Of course, there are supply chain restrictions that have been slowing down the increase of truck capacity for the last couple of years. That's the only thing that's really kept the freight rates from plummeting is supply chain restrictions on the ability to increase truck capacity, because trucking companies have been trying to hire and put as many trucks on the road as they can, but they've been restrained by the ability to buy equipment. So the point I was making is that whenever this picks up on the other side, after a whole bunch of trucking companies go out of business, the rates are crap. Once all those companies go out of business and the rates start picking back up, I think the rates are going to shoot up, and they're going to get really high, and they're going to stay high for a long time, because we could be looking at another boom for a year or two that is comparable to what we just went through for the last couple of years. Instead of a normal freight market, whenever we come out of this, it could be another boom freight market like we just went through, because there are going to be so many trucks driven off the road, put out of business by this downturn. And sorry, I keep pausing because I'm looking around. And because truck capacity will not be able to rise as quickly when the demand for freight goes up. So if you're able to survive it, I think we're going to be in a really good position whenever the market picks back up in a year or two. Now, if you do survive it, I hope you learned a valuable lesson. And whenever the market does pick up, you don't go out and just spin. You realize that, you know, this is the time to basically prepare for the next down market. Every boom, every up market, the people that are going to survive, whenever they're in an up market, they're usually prepping for the down market. Stockpiling money, getting all of their affairs in order, getting everything fixed, getting, you know, just getting everything set up to be in the best position possible to ride out the down market. All right, looks like we made it through Pueblo. We got, I don't know, an hour or so before we go through Colorado Springs. And then once I start going through Colorado Springs, I don't think there's much gap between Colorado Springs and Denver. So I think once I start going through Colorado Springs, I'm basically going to be driving through the Denver Metro for a few hours, basically from Colorado Springs all the way to Fort Collins. That's going to suck. That's the worst part of this entire drive, is driving through this section of road right here. Well, not this exact section of road, but basically from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. That's the worst section of this entire drive because of the traffic. And I always try to drive it in the middle of the night, like 1 o'clock in the morning or something. But I just didn't feel like sitting all day at the truck stop, so we're going to do it during the daytime. We're going to deal with idiots. Sorry, just checking traffic around me. I need to spit, and I don't have a pause button. I think you're just going to have to hear me spit. I apologize. And with people passing me all the time, it's really hard for me to find an opportunity to spit. And I hope the wind isn't blowing from the left to the right. Otherwise, I'll just spit on myself. All right, I think I got a chance here. Oh yeah, we did it. It was all good. Yay. Hopefully that truck behind me, hopefully it didn't, like, it looked like it was headed to the ground, but you know how wind is. There might have been some current off the truck that grabbed it and flipped it up into that guy's window. He's probably sitting back there thinking, good Lord, these bugs are crazy. Hopefully that did not happen. $49 down payment to get a car. Look at all these signs. Speaking of signs, there's been a lot of rumors that I've been hearing. This is information that I've gotten from YouTube videos. People are reporting stuff that they've been seeing. People that work at like animal shelters are claiming that animal abandonment is incredibly high right now. And that type of stuff is very, very, very normal whenever whenever the economy starts faltering. One of the first things people will do is whenever they start having issues feeding themselves, they're also having issues feeding their animals, and they will just abandon them when times start getting rough. That's one of the reasons that I'm very much against pet ownership. I don't like the idea of having pets because most people do not properly care for their pets. They don't take them to the vet. They don't, they have a lot of interaction with them whenever they first get them, but very quickly it just becomes a chore to them. Oh, I have to feed it. Oh, I have to let it out to use the bathroom. Um, and then when times get rough, they just abandon the animals. I mean, that's the majority of pet owners. There are some people out there that treat their pets like family, and they would feed their pet before they would feed themselves. But that's not the vast majority of pet owners. Evictions, foreclosures, repossessions. I've just been hearing that all of that stuff is really high right now. People are feeling the crunch. So I don't think the freight market has really crapped out yet. I think it's gone down a little bit, but honestly, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think the rates have gotten bad yet. We'll get there. And considering how many people have already gone out of business, fuck. Sorry, bro. I am not moving over for you. There's just a fucking line of cars passing me in the left lane, and I am not going to try to force my way over into the left lane. Traffic is really bad. What I might end up doing is I might just, if I see a truck stop, I might just pull over and take like a 7-hour break, 8-hour break, and do a sleeper split. I don't know. We'll keep driving until it gets stupid. Like right now, traffic is just really, really, really bad. It's just gonna get worse and worse the closer to Denver that I get. Sorry. I should probably end this video pretty quick because traffic is getting so bad that I'm not gonna be able to talk about anything. All right, that pack of cars made it around me. Now there's a tiny gap between this pack and the next pack. The next pack is already almost on me right now. Here they are. I've got the cruise set at 65. Speed limit is 75 for anybody who's interested. So these cars aren't going too far over the speed limit. I would say that their average speed is about 80 for the cars. I have a fuel stop on the north side of Denver, in between Denver and Fort Collins. I'm going to top off fuel there. Got more cars on the damn shoulder. So it's got an orange sticker on the rearview mirror. Nope, it was just stuck to the door. This traffic is fucking crazy. That's something that I people were talking about in YouTube videos. They're like, yeah, traffic seems like it's died down a bit. I haven't noticed that. Here's another fucking car on the shoulder. This guy is right on the fog line. Um, yeah, I have not noticed a reduction in traffic. Traffic is fucking retarded. The amount of traffic is just absolutely insane. I have noticed zero change in the amount of traffic. So I don't know. Maybe the people that are claiming that they have seen a reduction in traffic, maybe they are driving in areas that have a reduction in traffic, or maybe they're just like imagining shit. I don't know. Things usually take a little bit of time to happen, so a lot of people do what I was talking about earlier about, people with poor business models. Oh man, this fucking semi truck right here in the left lane, the McLean going the other direction, has caused a massive backup. Look at that huge pack of vehicles right there from that McLean truck clogging up the left lane. That's the reason that they have these laws about impeding the left lane, because one vehicle going like a mile an hour faster than the other vehicles can cause a huge backup like that. But like I was saying in trucking, you have these people that they just try to stay in business as long as possible, and they haul the cheap freight and all that stuff. That's what a lot of people do with their lives. Whenever things start getting bad, they don't proactively cut back on their spending and cut back on everything. Their people are typically reactionary. It's not until like, oh shit, I can't pay my electric bill, that they actually start doing something about it. So a lot of these people out here on the road are probably struggling at this very moment. They just don't realize how bad it is because they're so bad at managing their finances. And it's not until they have difficulty paying their bills, once, whatever they have in the bank squirreled away disappears, that's when they're going to start finally cutting back on driving and stuff like that. And businesses, I am just really astonished that businesses are still hiring like crazy right now, especially trucking companies. I went and I checked, uh, on trucker companies on Craigslist to see if, you know, they've started reducing the wages that they're offering, or to see if, there's not as many listings or anything. No, there's still tons of these small carriers, these brand new fleet owners that are offering like $1 a mile to company drivers. That just tells me that they are completely unaware of what's going on. These small brand new fleet owners that are paying company drivers $1 a mile are going to go out of business very quickly. Because if you look at fuel costs, most of us are paying somewhere in the area of 80 cents per mile fuel cost. So if they're paying a driver $1 a mile and their fuel cost is 80 cents a mile, that's $1.80 a mile on just those two expenses. That's not including the truck, maintenance and repairs, dispatchers, tax preparation services, accounting, bookkeeping, Like all of the things that a small fleet owner would be paying for. So they're probably having to get like somewhere between $2 and $2.50 a mile bare minimum just to break even. They're not profitable at that point. That's just like their break even point. And people with a business model like that, oh my goodness, they're going to go out of business quick. Could you imagine, the freight rates drop to an average of $2 per mile and they have to be at 250 a mile just to break even? So they're losing 50 cents a mile on every mile that they drive. And these are small fleet owners. They might have 5 or 10 trucks. That's a lot of lost revenue. That's a lot of, you know, negative profits on a weekly basis. They will very, very quickly go in the hole. I was watching a video from, I told you that I went out and watched a whole bunch of YouTube truckers I've never seen videos of before. One of them that I watched was Cash is King. I watched 2 or 3 of his latest videos. And like a month ago, he was talking about how he's gone through this stuff in the truck market, the ups and downs of the market before, and he survived. So, he'll survive this one. And then in one of his most recent videos, he was saying that he was only making 38 cents a mile after expenses on his latest load. And he said if that continued, if rates didn't come up from where they were at, if things just stayed the same, he was going to have to go find something else to do because he was making less money than company drivers. I hope that I never have to haul a load where I'm making company driver money, but that could be a reality. In order to survive this, some owner, the owner operators that survive this, some of their loads, they may be making company driver money on them. But Cassius King said he's on an 80-20 split. So he's an owner operator. He doesn't have anywhere near the overhead of a small fleet owner. And he's already, down to 38 cent a mile profit. If he was under one of these small fleets that's paying a company driver $1 a mile, at what he's moving freight for right now, that fleet owner would be losing money. But that's, like I said, almost everyone, actually everyone I can remember that was complaining about either they've already gone out of business or they're thinking about going out of business. That was one thing they've all had in common, was that they were working off the spot market. Except one. There's one that I am not certain of. He's a really big trucker in YouTube. I think what the hell is his channel name? Trucker AK, I think it is. He used to drive for Landstar. He quit Landstar and he went, and now he's driving for some small carrier. I don't know the details of exactly what he's doing, but I think he's just getting his loads off the spot market. And he keeps talking about it in his videos that, you know, it might be more profitable for him to just become a company driver, since they're paying company drivers like $1 a mile. So I'm not 100% certain that he's getting his loads off the spot market. That's the only one I'm not certain about. This second here, speed limit dropped down to 55, so readjusting things. Fucking amazing. It's like people time it so that they just have to run me out of my lane. I don't know how people can't manage to merge on without running somebody out of the right lane. But luckily, I had plenty of room to move over to the left lane. Jesus, I fucking hate roads like this. Uneven roads where there's like mixed pavement layers. My left steer keeps driving across an uneven thing. It's just jerking my steering back and forth. It's hard to maintain my lane. You would think with all of the work from home that's supposedly taking place right now, that traffic in cities would die down. But I think what's taking place is people are like taking on their lunch breaks and, you know, their breaks and their lunches and stuff like that. They're, you know, going places to do stuff. And then we also have this, a lot of people are doing gig work and a lot of people are doing deliveries. So people are working from home and they're ordering Uber Eats and Walmart grocery delivery and stuff like that. So they're having a lot of stuff delivered to their houses. This second here, there's a huge pack of vehicles passing me right now. Yeah, that's what I do. Just fucking pass me and then slam on your fucking brakes. That idiot right there in the SUV is one of those morons that he saw all the placards and he just set it at the back of my trailer afraid to pass, and it caused a backup behind me. So now I have a bunch of impatient drivers that are pissed off that are passing me right now. Every single one of these people are speeding. I've got my cruise set at 55, which is the speed limit for this construction. Wow. That Love's does not have diesel. I think that's the first time I've ever seen a Love's that was not a truck stop. Motherfucker. My left steer is just stuck in this rut. I don't want to jerk it out of it because I got cars alongside of me. All right, let's wrap this video up because I think we're going to have just tons and tons of interruptions as traffic just continues to build as I get closer and closer to Denver. We haven't even hit Fort Collins yet, and traffic is just fucking crazy. So is there anything I want to say in closing? Um, best of luck to you. Uh, I kind of hope that you make it through, but at the same time, we're in competition with each other. And even though we're in competition, I'm still willing to provide advice in these videos, still willing to provide suggestions and give information and help people out because I don't care how much you help somebody out. If they're an idiot, they're going to fail. So, best of luck to all of you watching this or listening to it. I hope you're one of the people that makes it through, but if you're not, then that's just better for anybody who does make it through. Fewer trucks on the road means better rates for everybody else. Jesus, man. This fucking uneven lane bullshit is just jerking my steers around like crazy. Really? They should have put signs up that said trucks use the left lane. But hey, this is fucking Colorado, one of the anti-trucker states. Colorado had a news article a few years back. I think it was specifically Denver, Colorado, had an article a few years back where they were trying to get it on the a vote to ban trucks during certain hours on the interstates because they were blaming trucks for causing the interstates to back up. Trucks are not the reason that interstates are clogged up. It's dumbass locals that are hopping on the interstate for 1 to 2 miles because the city's infrastructure is so bad. It's faster for them to hop onto the interstate with stop and go traffic for 2 or 3 or 5 miles than it is to use city streets. That's what causes the backups in cities, is poor city infrastructure. And there's just too damn many on and off ramps on the interstates in cities. I hope you guys know how to merge because I can't fucking move over the left lane, you dumbasses. I've got a line of cars passing me, you fucking idiots. You better figure shit out quick. Every one of them was racing to get in front of me. Just can't be behind that Can't be behind that truck. All right, we're out of the construction. Speed limit's back up to 65. Let's adjust the cruise. But yeah, I hope you make it through, and I kind of hope that you don't, because we're in competition with each other. But you know what? My hopes are not going to help you, and they're not going to hurt you. If I hope that you fail, it's not going to have any impact on you. If I hope that you succeed, it's going to have zero impact on you. What's going to decide whether or not you make it through this is luck and your ability to manage a business. So, best of luck to you. I hope you make it through. Thanks for watching, and have a great week. Bye.